So let's say we've got two people, and they both are showing signs of really being emotionally overwhelmed, really kind of just in a crisis. But inside, one is might be collapsing from kind of autistic burnout, and the other might be exploding in kind of a borderline personality disorder crisis. And they may look very similar from the outside, but these reactions come from really different and opposite nervous system reactions. And here's the thing most people miss: if you use the wrong strategy, you might make it worse. In fact, you probably will make it worse. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to tell which one you might be in and give you some ideas about what to do about it. Now, I want to make a really, really quick statement about this. These are broad patterns, they are not strict rules. Everybody's nervous system is different, and there's tons of overlap between autism, borderline personality disorder, trauma, ADHD, and more. If your experience doesn't fit this perfectly, it is still valid. Take what helps and leave the rest. So, let's start with the core difference in these type of situations. We're going to start with autistic burnout. So, autistic burnout kind of equals shutdown. The nervous system is absolutely overloaded by masking and too much sensory input and kind of a chronic effort to keep up with all this stuff. So the body says, retreat, shut it all down. And what you're going to see is kind of a sense of exhaustion, not a lot of speech, kind of a flat affect, blankness, or irritability, and trouble doing really basic tasks that would normally not be a big deal. And a real need to go quiet or even kind of disappear. Now, in a BPD crisis, that's more of a flood, and they are almost always triggered by relational stress, either real or imagined. So it can be an interaction with somebody else, or it can be a thought about an interaction or a fear about something that might happen in a relationship. Also, abandonment, rejection, emotional loss, and the body screams right now, fix it, fix it, fix it, or everything's going to fall apart. You're going to get pushed off the cliff into the abyss, and you will forever be alone. So, what you're going to see here is panic and maybe intense sadness or rage, and lots of efforts to figure out what to do, maybe impulsive texting or calling people. And the person in this situation often feels very out of control. And boy, often those fears of abandonment are just really ramped up. So, when you're trying to figure out which is which, the rule of thumb you might use is burnout collapses the system and crisis ramps it up. So, if you're trying to figure out if you or a loved one is in a BPD crisis or autistic burnout, you might ask yourself or your loved one this: is my body collapsing or is it exploding? So, collapse is autistic burnout, explode is BPD crisis. Same intensity, opposite directions. Now, here's a super quick self check. If someone texted you right now and said, "Hey, you okay?" Would your instinct be to A, leave it unread and curl up under a blanket? Or B, type a 12 paragraph reply, delete it, and then type it again? So you can see that if you're A, it's probably burnout. And if it's B, you're likely in crisis. But remember, everybody's mileage varies here. And for some people, it's not just one or the other. Sometimes what gets labeled as BPD is actually autism, or vice versa, or there are often folks out there with BPD and autism together, or BPD and complex PTSD, or BPD and ADHD. So remember, these are really, really general categories just to give you a sense. Now, if it's autism and BPD together, I've got a full video on that, and I'm going to link that for you at the end. So let's talk about how to deal with kind of an episode of autistic burnout. So, you know, autistic burnout is kind of a capacity problem. Your nervous system is kind of telling you that it's overdrawn, and pushing harder is kind of just like charging more stuff to a maxed out credit card. If you've been masking hard, or you're overperforming, or constantly adapting to other people, your capacity is going to be lower. And burnout is your body's way of saying that this pace is not sustainable. Instead of powering through, we're going to drop demands and stabilize the situation a bit, stabilize your system. And I like to call this kind of like a capacity reset protocol. So it's a set of steps about what to do to kind of bring things down. So, step one, we are going to lower the input first. Before you think, plan, do anything, you're going to cut the noise. If you can, you want to dim the lights or move to a lower sensory space. Maybe put on some noise canceling headphones or some soft background sound. You want to turn off any non essential notifications on your computer or your phone. And the goal here isn't productivity, it is less incoming. We want to quiet things down. Now, step two is to pick one low demand anchor. Now, what I mean by that is to choose one quiet, repetitive, low input activity to give your nervous system something predictable for a little while. For example, lying under a weighted blanket, right? This does not require a lot from us. Folding towels or clothes, but like not like fitted sheets. That's too stressful. Or maybe you might want to sort something by color or size. You might want to watch a TV show that you've seen 8 million times on low volume. Now, do not call yourself lazy in this situation. It's deliberate recovery behavior. And step three, you're going to a bit later, right? You're going to triage the demands for the day. So once you feel a little more regulated and you know that you've got other stuff that has to get handled. Now, you don't have to feel great to do this, just a little less fried. Then you can do a tiny bit of triage around what's expected from you for the rest of the day. So you can jot down or type or voice note what's pulling on you, what's supposed to get done. And I want you to mark what's truly time sensitive or safety related, not what you'd like to do, right? It's what's important to do. And give yourself explicit permission to delay or cancel what isn't urgent. Then we're going to shrink what's less. We're going to do the bare minimum version. You're going to ask for help or break it into micro steps. You're not meant to operate at full capacity all the time. In autistic burnout, doing less on purpose is a clinical intervention. It is not a character flaw. It does not mean you're trying to get out of responsibilities or that you're lazy or that you want to push things off on other people. It's important to know this. So for burnout, the formula is less input, one predictable anchor, and a tiny, kinder to-do list later on. Now, let's talk about some things that can be helpful in case of a BPD crisis, when every cell in your body is on fire with emotion and you want to do anything to make it stop. A BPD crisis isn't about being too emotional. It's kind of about being too physiologically activated. Kind of everything's on fire and your brain just can't think clearly at all. And your heart rate even may be through the roof. So the skill I like to do in this circumstance is kind of a mixture of skills from dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, and ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. And I call it ICE, distract, and diffuse. And this is stolen from distress tolerance and diffusion skills. So the first step is to cool the system down, literally. And so step one is we get ice involved or cold involved in some way. One way that you can do this is hold an ice pack across your eyes and the tops of your cheeks. And if you can wrap it in a damp paper towel, even better. Hold your breath. And if you do it a few times, you'll notice that your heart rate starts to drop and you feel less on fire, right? So the idea here is that you're activating the dive reflex. Now, you might also consider plunging your face in cold water for 15 to 30 seconds. And then you'll see that heart rate. And it kind of sends a "we're not dying right now" signal to your brain. And it's not a gimmick. I promise you. It's a nervous system override, and it's used all the time in dialectical behavior therapy and also elite athletic recovery. If you have heart or medical issues, skip the full face dunk and just hold something cool in your hands or across the back of your neck or on your cheeks. Okay, so that's step one. We're going to get the body to calm down a little bit. But you know what? Don't go back to the difficult situation right after that. You got some more to do. So step two, we want to distract, but we want to distract on purpose. So once you've done the cold thing, don't process. Don't start thinking about the situation. You want to pull your attention to something else. Your only job here is to keep from blowing things up. You're not going to make big decisions, fix the problem, send texts that, burn everything down. So here's what you want to think about doing. Something stimulating, repetitive, or absorbing. So like stacking things by color or size, or playing a phone game, maybe even, reciting all the song lyrics from bad sitcoms from the 80s. Or you might watch an ASMR video. The thing is to pull your attention back to that as if your life depended on it, because your brain will want to go back to the thing that was troubling you. Pull yourself back to the distraction. Now, stay there until your body feels less hijacked. Then, and only then, we're going to go to step three. Now, step three is we're going to do some cognitive diffusion. There's this idea that when we get really, really upset about something, or really worried or angry or whatever, our thoughts are fused. We're fused with them, right? So whatever I'm thinking at that time, I believe is absolute reality, and I've got to act on it. So we want to defuse ourselves, get ourselves away from the belief that that is absolutely reality right now. You might say to yourself out loud, the story my brain is telling me is, fill in the blank here. My partner is going to leave me. That proves I'm unlovable and no one will ever love me again. Next, you're going to gently ask yourself, well, what else might be true? And if someone I loved was feeling this, what would I say to them? Would I go, well, yeah, pretty much. You're done for. No more love for you. You'll be alone forever. The goal here isn't to erase the feeling. It's to loosen its grip so you can make a different choice. If this video helped you understand your nervous system even a little bit better, I am so glad. That's the start of getting unstuck and learning what to do when things get difficult. And if you want more tools like this, ones that can work for emotional overload, BPD, autism, trauma, ADHD, or just life when it's hard, I made you something. It's called the Emotional Regulation Starter Kit, and it's totally free. Inside the kit, I walk you through various skills that are mostly stolen from dialectical behavior therapy, so you're not guessing what to do when you're overwhelmed. You have a plan in place, and the link's in the description. And while you're down there, if you'd hit subscribe, that'd be awesome. More people can get to see the videos if you do so. And if you're now wondering, wait, what if my BPD is actually autism? Watch this next video. I don't know if it's going to be here or here. Let's guess. It's called, What If Your BPD is Actually Autism? And I hope you'll take a look. I'll see you next time. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now.